So it's really easy to make precious metal clay objects, but once you've done that, you really need to think about how you're going to make it into jewellery, and there are lots of different options. I've got 4 options to look at today. One of the first ones we're going to look at is findings that you can put into precious metal clay. So you can get these little jump rings, and this is a little silver finding. It has got the hoop at the top, and it has like a little piece of silver that splays out a bit. Yeah, essentially it's going to anchor into your precious metal clay. And I have put one into one of these pebbles, and this is one of the ways that you can make that pebble into a pendant. And what I've done is put that hoop, pushed it into the precious metal clay. So we'll have a little go at doing that now, I think. I'm gonna take some precious metal clay and we will roll it into a ball. So I've got a ball of precious metal clay, and you're gonna push this into your precious metal clay. Now, it is quite long. So I would say if you're gonna use this, you do need to be aware of how big your precious metal clay piece is. At the minute, that bit is sticking out, and obviously your precious metal clay is going to shrink. You need to really push that down. So it's really pushed in there. Yeah, so I'll put him to the side. This is another example of how you can add findings to your precious metal clay. What we've done is we have rolled a really thin little bit of precious metal clay and then put it onto this piece of precious metal clay and made essentially a little kind of hook, a little bail, if you will, to make a pendant. So at this point, your chain would thread through this bit here. Really what you need to do to make a really nice, smooth sausage shape for precious metal clay is you need flat, really smooth surfaces. So I've got a bit of acrylic, and I'm just gonna put a bit of the metal release on it. I'm gonna get a small bit of precious metal clay. I'm using another piece of acrylic, and I'm gonna roll it. So one of the advantages is that you're going to get a really even length of precious metal clay, and you're also not going to get any finger marks on it. So what you need to do is take this piece, a little piece of precious metal clay, and secure it onto your piece. So the best time to do this is when it is still soft, but you can apply it, if you need to, you could apply it when it's dry but not fired. Make sure that it is really secure. So any parts that you add onto your precious metal clay, they need to be really secure. There shouldn't be any cracks or gap, because what you'll find is that it might pop off while you're firing it. What you need is a little bit of either water or a little bit of slip to attach this. This is just about adding a little, I suppose it is essentially like a little handle, but it's what either a chain could go through or you could put a jump ring through it, but it needs to be really securely part of your piece. Once you've added it, if when it's dry and you come back to it, and if you see there's any cracks, you need to fill those cracks in. Because if your chain's going through this, there will be some pressure and some weight on this. It needs to dry. You need to smooth over any rough edges. You need to make sure that there's no cracks, and just have a really good look and make sure that it is fully attached to your piece. So once you've attached your bail to the back of your piece of precious metal clay and it's completely dry, it is got no moisture in it, you can then fire it. So this is our little starfish. You can add holes to your precious metal clay. If you add the hole after you have dried your precious metal clay but it is not fired, you just have to be aware that when you're adding that hole, your precious metal clay is quite brittle, so you kind of risk breaking it a little bit. And then adding your hole once your precious metal clay is fired, that just means that it will be harder to get a drill bit through your precious metal clay. We'll demo adding a hole in your precious metal clay when it is dry. So we've got some drill bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the drill bit and I'm going to be really, really gentle. So you want to make sure that you've left a bit of space either side. Again, it's going to shrink. And what I'm doing is I'm just really gently twisting this drill bit, and it's just gonna gradually go through. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but what you wanna do is it's just removing the precious metal clay, it's removing that powder. Keep going until that you know you've gone through. So that hole's actually really quite neat, and it was really easy to do. You just have to have a little bit of patience. Don't push too hard. Another way is to integrate a hole into your design. This is one of the pebbles that we made that has a hole in it, and instead of having it like to add any findings, we've just used that hole and threaded a chain through it. We're just going to polish this and go over this with a metal brush. That was the 4 different ways that you can add different findings to your precious metal clay. Let us know how you've been getting on in the comments.